Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel, Tarot by Bronx. This is Tarot Talk. These are Tarot Tings, and I'm your host, Boogie down Bronx, and I'm here to take care of the Aries. Aries, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This reading can resonate for you. If you have Aries as a sun, moon, rising Venus, north node, or south node sign. Quick shout out to my Patreon. Today is the Capricorn full moon, and my Patreon has all the insight you need for what this Capricorn full moon means for you and where it is affecting you based on your houses where you have Capricorn in your chart. All right, so for all exclusive content, please subscribe to the Patreon as well as early access content before I put it on YouTube. It is on Patreon, all right? So Aries. Sorry, a card fell on the floor. Aries, this is a really, really, really big time for you. Really big time for you. You're going to be running the show. You're going to be in the spotlight, all right, because we have a nodal change happening this month. A nodal change moving from Taurus and Scorpio to Aries and Libra, all right? So if you got these Aries placements, that means that the North Node is going to be in Aries. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on moving forward, progression, your life purpose if you have Aries placements. Now, some of you may have even had Taurus placements, so you already feel the North Node energy, which is about growth and pushing you out your comfort zone and expansion. But if you have Libra placements too, that may be a little complex because South Node is going to be in Libra. So South Node deals with our past and karma and our comfort zones and, things that kind of hold us back. So there can be a push-pull dynamic, but there's going to be a new shift in perspective and focus for the areas of lives you have, areas of life. You have Aries and Libra based on your birth chart. All right, but yeah, Aries, so you're up next. It's your time to shine. With that being said, let's flip over your blunt truth cards and see what it is you need to hear right now, Aries. You got shadow work needed, and then you have the caterpillar becomes the butterfly. Okie dokie. So let's look at my shadow work deck specifically to see what it is that's hidden from you or what you need to focus on for your shadow work. What type of shadow work? Justice. That's Libra. That's your opposite sign. So it's something about your opposite sign's energy that you need to be inhabiting, or it's like a shadow side for you. It's like a blind spot for you. Let's see. And that's going to really be emphasized when the nodes shift, I think on July 17th. Let's see. Justice card in the shadow work deck. Where's Justice? Where are you, Justice? Justice represents detached decision-making, logic, and the power of knowledge without emotional influence and analysis for determining outcomes and making important decisions. Life can be fair if we act with integrity, upright, detached decision-making, fairness, consequences, cause and effect, and logic. Okay. So perhaps you need some more shadow work in the realm of decision making. Okay, Aries is one of those signs that are fire sign, known for being more impulsive, more intuitive and spontaneous with decisions. But it can be coming from a very emotional place, could be from an angry place, can be from an ego place, versus Libra, which is about detached. It's about making like calculated decisions. It's about being fair. Aries doesn't really care about all that. It's just like, I just want to choose what I want to choose. I don't really care about the consequences. I don't know how it's going to affect other people. Doesn't matter to me. But because, again, there's this nodal shift with Aries and Libra, there's going to be a lot of lessons surrounding, like, you need to be very calculated, or maybe you need to be more conscious of how your decisions affect those around you. And it's going to really be imperative that you pay attention to, like, how your relationships are influenced, or how your relationships influence your decisions. So all those things are very important. All right, for the shadow work. Now, let me clarify one more card. Can we get one more card for our shadow work needed with the blunt truth? Settling for mediocrity. Interesting. Alrighty, Aries. So let's get into more of your reading. Let's go to the Everything Oracle deck and see more of where shadow work is needed. Spirit, can you tell us more for shadow work needed for Aries? Shadow work needed for Aries placements. Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, and South Node. Life purpose. A lot of you are going to be finding and figuring out what your life purpose is with this North Node situation in Aries. And if you have your North Node already in Aries in your chart, then it's an even more pivotal time for you. So let's see what else for Aries with shadow work needed. Why is the shadow work needed surrounding their life purpose? Healing, honor party, self-love, confession, inner child trauma. It's telling y'all there's a real emphasis on needing to heal more. A real emphasis on needing to heal. Chiron is also in Aries. I don't know if it's gone retrograde already or it's going retrograde this month. July has it's a lot of planets going retrograde, a lot of changes for us, astrologically speaking. Is crazy. But you have life purpose, you have self-love, you have inner child trauma, and you have healing. All right. So a lot of your purpose is going to be shown to you as you take your healing more into consideration and you heal your inner child trauma and you work on those things that you have been procrastinating with, that you've been putting off. Everything heals from within and that's reflected without, right? So Aries and Libra. Aries is about self. Libra is about the relationship to other. So you need both. Like to be in a relationship with somebody else, you need a relationship with yourself. You need to have an identity of your own. Aries has identity. Sometimes Libra lacks identity because they don't know who they are without another person. So some of you guys have to figure out which you're leaning more into. Is it that you are too far into your relationships with other people? You're not even sure who you are anymore because everything you're doing is to prove something to others or for other people or, in spite of other people, ego related ways of being and living? Or is it that you're too into yourself? You're so like hyper independent, which is a really common issue for, I was going to say Leos, could be for Leos too. For Aries is being hyper independent, like just being either so forced to be always on your own, always doing everything by yourself, never needing help, never being able to ask for help, never being able to depend on other people. So now you're just hyper independent. You don't like other people either relying on you or helping you. It's all like every man for himself. That's how Aries usually operates. And so there's a lot of healing to be done with that because it's like you have to find that middle ground for yourself, Aries. It's like it doesn't have to be me versus them, me versus them, me versus my friends, me versus my family, me versus my partner. That's the shadow side, There has to be an equilibrium where it's like, okay, learning to compromise or learning to meet in the middle or not looking at every relationship as like we're competition, like we're in a fight. Like I have to fight for my survival, right? Living in survival mode. And so a lot of your life purpose will revolve around finding that middle ground of learning to not feel like you have to be on the defense with people all the time or attacking other people or, other people attacking you, being on guard and getting defensive as well. And so that's going to stem from a lot of like inner work and looking at self-love and practicing self-love and understanding that you are lovable and you don't have to always just fight others to get what you want and get what you need. You don't have to, be so combative in different ways or live your life in fear, live your life in anger, live your life on a defensive stance all the time. All right, so what else for Aries? How is this going to, or how do Aries heal these wounds? How does Aries heal these wounds? How does Aries heal these wounds? Stable, dreams, ancestor, altar, air sign. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, new love. How should Aries approach healing these wounds? Addiction or codependency, self-sabotage, affair or third party. I don't know where that came from out of the blue. All right, so first you have air sign. Some of you could be connecting with an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, romantically especially. You have new love. You have they will reach out. Going for relationships that are more stable, right? So you may be just used to a lot of like toxic or chaotic or, rambunctious, emotionally unstable relationships that keep you on high alert, keep your defenses up, keep you in defense mode, or you deal with like a lot of family that is like very, abrasive and tumultuous. And you need to get around people that are stable. Okay, you got to get around some calmer energy. You need some grounding energy. It could be an air sign that mellows you out. Definitely earth signs can be a little more grounded as well. But you got to get stable. You have to get stable within yourself. You have to really fight for that stability in order to get out of survival mode so much where you're just constantly like up here, up here, up here. You got to bring it down. All right. Mellow. Ancestor altar. Some of you connecting, having a better relationship with your guides is what helps you. Self-sabotage, looking at where you sabotage your own relationships because you have a me versus them mentality all the time. It's like, I need to be right. Like, I need to just do it my own way. And so just doing it your own way, there is no compromise and there's no middle ground. It's just me or them. And so that can be where you tend to, just burn the bridge quickly or leave prematurely certain relationships, and things just go south from there. Manifesting better healing, better relationships, more stability in your life. Again, stability starts from within you. What does a fair third party have to do with anything? What does a fair or third party have to do with this energy? Rejection. Okay, so I think this is more pertaining to being careful of like just dealing with things that, again, going back to being like chaotic or unstable. Dealing with third party things, drama, things involving multiple people is not, no, that's not for you. Okay, rejection. Some of you may still be healing or feel rejected from, somebody that chose somebody else over you, right? And there may be still anger or a need to like prove to them that you can be whatever it is that you think they want you to be. But that's not the path that you're meant to take here. All right. So, yeah, Aries, a lot happening here. Okay, now let's continue on. Let's look at some tarot here. What does Aries have coming towards them in July with this change of energy? What does Aries have coming towards them in July? With shadow work, what does Aries have coming towards them with this energy in July? What's coming towards Aries with this energy? You got Judgment. You got Nine of Swords. What does Aries have coming towards them with this energy? Why is the Judgment card here? Death card. Scorpio energy is strong. Some of you may have Scorpio in your chart or be dealing with Scorpio energy around you. Anything else for Aries? What's coming towards Aries? Why is the Death card here? Death and rebirth. Why is the Death card here for Aries? Gemini. Lover's card. Why is the Death card here for Aries? I see you going through a very transformative process when it comes down to like your approach to relationships, and it makes sense. It makes sense. Why? Like I said, North Node and South Node changing. Aries and Libra, it's going to be all about relationships now. Before it was about control and it was about power and it was about stability and wealth more so. With Scorpio and Taurus, now it's about relational things. It's about how can we keep our relationship with ourselves without needing to completely isolate ourselves, and how do we not completely lose ourselves in connections without, becoming codependent, right? So Death card, Judgment card, you're making decisions about how you're approaching connections and how you're meant to be healing and what you've been running from. Seven of Swords reverse. In relationships, a lot of you have been running from connections altogether. Seven of Swords reverse, Three of Swords reverse, trying to avoid pain And to a certain extent, it works. It works to a certain extent to avoid relationships. Then you avoid pain, but you also avoid intimacy. You will never deeply connect with anybody if you keep them at arm's length, or you're always one foot out the door, ready to go at the drop of a hat. And so you're like, okay, if I need to, redevelop my connections, I have to heal through this pain, redevelop my sense of trust with other people, and we're going to go from there, right? You have a choice to make. The Lover's card, Gemini energy, again, strongly here. You're going to be deciding. Sorry, y'all. There's a little baby crying out there. But yeah, you're going to be deciding how you want to show up with relationships, and there's going to be so much shadow work in relationships, and the only way that shadow work is presented is through connections. You're not actively working on your triggers until you become triggered. So if your triggers are surrounding relationships, listen closely, Aries. Listen. Aries, many of your wounds are involving relationships. Many of your wounds were created by relationships, right? And the only way to heal wounds created by relationships is in healthy relationships. That's the only way to heal relational wounds, right? So many of you have been going through life, going along your merry way, being able to avoid pain because you're not really connecting with anybody. You're not truly opening your heart. You're not truly forming relationships, or you're not truly forming friendships. So you're able to, not get triggered because you're not actually close enough to anybody to open those wounds. So during this transition, when Aries moves into the North Node and then the South Node is in Libra, there's a lot of old relational wounds and patterns that are reopened before you can fully progress, right? You got to deal with the past before you can deal with the future. So Aries, these wounds that have been avoided, you've ran from them, family wounds, whoever, relational stuff, it's coming up in connections that are, for the most part, going to be pretty healthy and intimate. And that's something that's going to be very triggering for you. And you're going to want to run away. And that's going to show you and emphasize where you still got some work to do. You still got some healing to do because you're not used to having the healthy connections. You're not used to challenging yourself in relationships right now. And so just because it's like you have to learn what is the healthy challenge versus the toxic challenge, right? So healthy relationships can be just as challenging as toxic ones and uncomfortable ones. So it's like fighting to be more stable can feel just as harsh as it is fighting for somebody that's not good for you. So that's what we have here for you, Aries. Things are coming up here you've been avoiding. For some of you, subconsciously or consciously, you know that you're like, I don't want to connect with anybody because I don't want to be triggered. I don't want to be hurt. But the only way you're going to heal and use this North Node change to the highest degree, the best of your ability, is if you get in connections, because then you become more self-aware. You don't know enough sometimes about yourself until you can see in another person something mirrored back to you, like, oh, I see these wounds. I see how I act in relational dynamics. I see these things that are my strengths. I see these things that I still need to work on. That's how it works. So you trying to just stride through life pain-free, not going to connect with anyone deeply, just going to avoid all the way through, you're going to really lack that self-awareness that you could have. And that self-awareness is something that's going to help you excel in your life altogether. So you see how everything is like a mirror, the chicken and the egg, like which one comes first. It's like healing the relationship with yourself heals your relationships. Healing your relationships heals the relationship with yourself. It's just in a circle, that's how it goes. That's what you're going to be seeing, a lot of everything coming full circle. All right, so lastly, what is it that Aries needs to surrender with this energy? What does Aries need to surrender with this energy here? Surrender to joy and surrender to play. Okay. A key to positive change in your life is to let joy in and savor it. Indulge in random acts of smiling during both the hard and easy times. Keep surrendering to more joy. Surrender to play. Take a break from overthinking a goal. Do something fun. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. So, Aries energy, it's supposed to be childlike, the innocent, young energy of the zodiac, but I find that Aries energy can be kind of serious sometimes. And, you know, just like, because there's just a lot of internal battles going on. So remember to incorporate a lot of fun, lighthearted energy into your life. All right, anything else for Aries that's going to help deal with this transition of relationships? Anything else that's going to help Aries deal with this transition of relationships? Nine of Swords. You know, definitely facing your fears and looking at your shadow side. A lot of you are going to be quite surprised to see reflected back to you. Like, you may not like who you see, as far as like shadow work that you have not dealt with, pain you have not dealt with. Capricorn energy here, Devil card. You're going to see things reflected back to you. You're going to be like, oof, that's me. That's what I still got to work on. That's who I've become, you know, and there's a lot of fear of facing those things there. Fear of being trapped. I think some of you have a fear of entrapment and a fear of being stuck and confined, and, you know, you just want to keep your autonomy because you've been controlled a lot. But again, with boundaries, relationships don't have to be controlling. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You know, it's like about, again, finding the middle ground between like, okay, I don't have to completely isolate myself, and I don't have to completely turn into another person to be in a functioning, healthy relationship. Some of you have a very skewed idea of what a healthy relationship looks like. You don't really know. And the only way to figure it out is to get out there and start connecting with people and feel like, okay, this feels right. This is too much. This feels right. This is not enough. This is too much, you know, and then you start placing those boundaries around them. And that's the only way you're going to be able to figure out what feels right, what's good enough, what's not good enough, but not avoiding altogether and not submerging yourself in relationships either to avoid your own healing. So again, middle ground. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can say here for you, Aries. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a ride for all of us in some way, shape, or form. But figuring out the relationships you have with yourself to other people is key. So thank you for watching, Aries. If this video resonated for you, please let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe so this channel can thrive. I am at Tarot by Bronx on everything.